What do you have an extremely strong opinion on that is ultimately unimportant? There should be a federal law that if a manufacturer puts a sticker on a product, that sticker must be easily removed by the consumer with no residue left. Every construction site on which a new building is being built should have a sign facing the street that tells folks what that building will be when it is completed. Why do you have to register for damn near everything now? I had to register to GoPro's app just so I could use the camera. And pretty much everything else these days too asks for you to register. News site? Register pop-up before you can read the article. So they can aggregate user data and sell it on ad exchanges as an audience. Data is the new gold. Saving Private Ryan lost Best Picture to Shakespeare in Love. It still makes me angry, and it's been like 20 years. The dishes in my house should be placed so they take up the least amount of space. Apparently the rest of the household likes to think otherwise. I am adamant that when you close a plastic or Ziploc bag, there should be no air inside. When I see people close a bag with lots of air inside, it makes me very unsettled. But the air protects my Doritos. If you live in a country that drives on the right-hand side of the road, you should keep right on the footpath. Allows for overtaking and less congested paths. Additionally, if you're with a group of people walking down the sidewalk, don't take up the whole width. Pay to win has ruined the online gaming experience for sports games. Radio commercials should be banned from having any car sounds, honking, crash noises, sirens. Too many times I've looked to see who is honking and then I realize it's the ad. At least make them liable for damages incurred. I don't like using the word dongle in everyday out loud speech. Hey bro, can I borrow your dongle? This is my Magnum dongle. Vanilla is an amazing flavor and everyone treats it like it's just some basic shit that's expected. It's complex and rich and just a delicious flavor. But then we go around and describe the most dull and boring and normal things as vanilla, and it totally detracts from the flavor. Chocolate ice cream is good, ice cream with things in it is okay, but if I had to choose only one ice cream flavor for the rest of my life, I'd choose vanilla in a heartbeat. Go take your chunky monkey somewhere else. Boneless buffalo wings are not wings. They are chicken nuggets in wing sauce. No, boneless wings are supposed to be called chicken tenders, which are made by slicing up a chicken breast. Chicken nuggets are made from ground-up chicken parts and held together with glue or something, I don't know. The point is, while you are correct that they shouldn't be called boneless wings, you are incorrect in calling them nuggets. You have insulted my love of chicken tenders. An insult for which I will not stand. Websites that automatically sign you up for their spam list. Just don't assume that I am interested in every little update from you for the lifetime just because once I made a mistake of using your site for 2 minutes. Laugh tracks. If it's funny, I'll laugh. If it's not funny, you playing a recording of people laughing won't convince me. I'm actually convinced now that the laugh track is a big sitcom scam that they input so that they can put less time into writing, because after every few lines they get to pause the dialogue for a few seconds and it doesn't seem off pace. Tuna is tuna. Don't call it tuna fish. Pianos should be tuned at least once per year, even if they're not played regularly. Otherwise, the strings become brittle and the tuning pins unresponsive to holding the pitch firmly in place. And please, for the love of God, rent a violin from the violin shop for $20 a month instead of trying to bring your $90 eBay violin to lessons. $90 POS models are incapable of holding their tuning and will only frustrate you, especially if you're a beginner. CDs should be ordered primarily alphabetically by artist, secondarily by release date. This is ultimately unimportant and has become less important every year. Pockets in women's clothing. Sewn shut all the time, and even if you open them they're still tiny. Completely impractical. It's all a marketing ploy to force women to buy purses since we have nowhere else to put our phone, wallet, and keys. My girlfriend just bought a dress that has really deep pockets. She looked so happy when she tried it on and discovered the pockets, like she'd just gotten the best news or a raise or something. People who cannot queue. I had an experience with someone who tried to cut a line one morning, and I called them out even though I was like 15 people back. They kept on trying to ignore me, so I got louder and louder until it was impossible to pretend like they didn't hear me. It was probably awkward AF for every single person there, and my adrenaline was up after. Watermelon eating contests. I've never been in one myself and I never would. Why sign up for such a sham? It's not an eating contest at all. They should at least be honest and call it a slam and grind your face against a watermelon as hard and fast as you can contest. Every time, the winner is just someone who just pushed his face against the melon so that it all breaks apart and liquefies and falls to the floor around him. Meanwhile, there's always another contestant sitting beside the winner who was a good, honest, upstanding citizen, genuinely trying to eat it and was about 5 bites in, and you can just see his naive faith in humanity being shattered in the dumbfounded look on his face as a judge lords this guy next to him who just splattered his watermelon all over the floor. And if it isn't bad enough that the charlatans running these operations allow this to happen, the crowds all cheer and ooh and ah and share videos online where more people continue to comment about how crazy awesome it is someone could eat so fast. Jesus Christ, open your eyes. As a chef, I hold two strong but unnecessary opinions. When using a steel on a knife, it's not sharpening, it's honing. You use a stone to sharpen. Just because you're using a grill doesn't mean it's barbecue. What makes something barbecued? Seasoning? The heat is low and slow, and usually indirect. Over an open fire or pit. Most pit masters will tell you smoke has to be involved, and it's what gives barbecue the distinct flavor. Sauce and seasoning depend on the region, but usually doesn't affect what defines barbecue. Grilling is direct heat, high temperature, and speedier. I love both methods, just like using the right definitions. But if my friends throw a barbecue and are just grilling hamburgers and hot dogs, I'm not going to be an arse and correct them. Telemarketing should be illegal. It's annoying, it's basically harassment. Getting 3 to 4 phone calls at 9 AM on your free Friday is not a fun way to wake up, and no, I don't want to buy the healing power of crystals for a real good price. I have reached a point where I just don't answer my phone if the number isn't saved in my phone book or is hidden. I suffer from mild anxiety and I feel bad after I just close the call. I've moved beyond the politeness point where you say no almost infinitely. I shouldn't feel bad, because most telemarketers are just glad they don't have to waste their time, but I still feel guilty. The thing is that if you're expecting an important phone call and accidentally answer a telemarketer instead, then your number seems to move up in their list. Like bright red alerts go off in their system, we found a dipshit who answered. Let's all bombard that number. Because once you answer the number once, you start getting 3 to 4 calls a day for weeks. Charging for public toilets is against human rights and is discriminatory against people with certain disabilities. Public toilets, especially those in train stations, fast food restaurants etc. that earn an income, should be free. The Flying Koopa Troopers are not ducks with shells, as my wife asserts, but turtles with wings. The Flying Koopa Troopers are not Flying Koopa Troopers, as you assert, but Koopa Paratroopers. Don't include an option to upload a resume if you're going to force the applicant to manually type in all the information on the resume anyways. People should let all the passengers off of an elevator before boarding. American public school teachers should be considered federal employees. There should be a set minimum educational requirement to become a teacher, and they should be paid according to the GS pay scale, a lot more than they currently get paid. Police officers should be required to live in the district they patrol. I think people would be more willing to speak to an officer about criminal activity in their community if they see the officer on a regular basis and have a rapport with them. Officers would be more inclined to protect and serve instead of enforce laws if they have a vested interest in the community and the people therein. If you have worked inside since the year 2000, you should know how to use a computer. Being computer illiterate at this point in history is the same as being illiterate. There should be multiple words for doctor to be able to differentiate between MDs and PhDs. When I walk on a sidewalk with my friends, I don't want to be the third wheel walking behind. People saying, I could care less, instead of, I couldn't care less. Saying the complete opposite of what they are trying to say. Restaurants that can't split bills, especially at places that just write the table's orders on paper. Like ringing up each person's meal individually would be unfathomably more difficult than doing it in one transaction. There isn't enough respect for original flavor goldfish crackers. Half the shelf space is devoted to cheddar flavors, and the other half is devoted to all the bizarre new flavors, cookies and cream, pizza, extra cheddar, etc. But there's only one small spot for original flavor, and it's always sold out, because original flavor is the best. Get your crap together, Pepperidge Farm. People chewing with their mouths open. It brings me to the edge of committing violence. Whenever I hear or see someone chewing with their mouth open, I automatically assume they're stupid. I mean, if you can't even manage that, then I don't have much faith in you accomplishing much else. All printers should, by heavily enforced law, be required to comfortably fit at least one ream of paper in the drawer. I hate the phrase, open-face sandwich. It isn't a sandwich. It's just food on bread. Don't call it a sandwich. Do not malign the name of sandwich in front of me in this way. People who leave shopping carts sitting loose in parking lots, because they were too lazy or don't have time to put it in the cart corral. Sandwiches taste better cut diagonally. It's science. I don't cut my sandwiches. I just have a big square sandwich. I eat all the crust first, then I eat all the rest. It scares me that there are people like you out there in the world, just walking around, pumping our gas, walking past our schools and hospitals. Restaurants that don't accept credit debit cards. I have a mental list of others do that and I avoid them like the plague. We have an ATM by the front door, beautiful. Loading a dishwasher is not only both an art form and a science, but also an expression of the state of your soul. I cannot respect anyone who cannot load a dishwasher properly. Outwardly, I will continue to be polite and friendly towards them, but inwardly I have judged and dismissed them.